My name is Vivian Cross. I'm 36. 2 months ago, I drove 11 hours to attend my younger sister's wedding. When I pulled into the venue, my own mother stood in the doorway and told me to turn around. "This is a family-only event," she said. "You weren't on the list." I stood there in the green silk dress I'd had tailored for this exact day, holding a gift bag with a custom watch inside, and watched my mother's face stay perfectly, terrifyingly calm. No apology, no hesitation. Just a closed door and a woman pretending she didn't recognize her own daughter. I had signed every vendor contract for that wedding. My name, my credit card, my signature on 4 separate agreements. I'd covered the deposits without blinking, because that's what I always did. 3 days later, my mother called. Not to apologize. She called about a bill, $38,000, and what I told her she did not see coming. Before I get into it, if stories like this resonate with you, consider subscribing. And drop your city and the time where you're watching from. I love seeing where everyone's tuning in from around the world. Let me take you back to last September, the night my sister Paige called me, breathless, practically vibrating through the phone. I was in my kitchen in Seattle, halfway through making dinner, when her name lit up my screen. "Vivian!" "Oh my God, Vivian, he proposed." Behind her, I could hear my mother's voice, high and delighted, asking someone to pass the champagne. "Paige, that's incredible," I said, and I meant it. Despite everything, despite years of feeling like the family's afterthought, in that moment I was just happy for my little sister. "Tell me everything." Okay, so Connor proposed at his parents' place in Napa, right on the vineyard. Under these string lights, it was so perfect. And his mom already said we could do the wedding there. Can you believe it? I knew the Whitmores. Connor's family owned one of the larger boutique wineries in the valley. The kind of place with a tasting room gift shop and a wait list for weddings. "Mom, say hi to Vivian," Paige said, turning the phone. My mother, Carol, leaned into frame, smiling, though something behind her eyes flickered when she saw me. "Hi, sweetheart. Exciting news, right?" "It really is," I said. "I'll start checking flights. I mean, I can drive. It's only 11 hours. When's the date?" A pause. Carol's smile didn't move, but her tone shifted half a degree. "Oh, don't worry about coming all that way. It's going to be small. Very intimate. Mom, it's Paige's wedding." "Of course I'm coming. We'll see, honey. Lots to figure out." And then she was gone from the frame, off to find more champagne. That should have told me everything. It didn't. 2 weeks later, Carol called. Not Paige. She called on a Tuesday afternoon, which meant she'd been thinking about this all morning. "Vivian, I need to talk to you about something. Practical." I already knew where this was going. I'd been the practical solution to my family's problems since I was 23. The vineyard requires a card on file for the full booking. Your father's credit is a mess after the business loan, and Paige is just starting out. She doesn't have any history. The caterer's the same, and the florist and the photographer. 4 contracts. "We just need your name on the paperwork." "How much, Mom?" Total comes to around $42,000, but the deposits are only about $4,000 up front. The rest gets billed after the wedding. You'd just be helping hold everything together. "We'll handle the balance, I promise." I'd heard that promise before. At 24, I co-signed a loan for my father's failed restaurant venture. It took me 4 years to clean that off my credit. At 29, I wired Carol $5,000 for what she called a medical emergency, which I later learned was Paige's down payment on a car. But this was my sister's wedding, and I was the responsible one, the one with the corporate job and the good credit score, and the apparently bottomless patience. "Send me the contracts," I said. I signed all 4 that week without reading the fine print twice, because I never had before, and nothing had ever gone wrong enough to teach me otherwise. Over the following months, the wedding planning unfolded entirely without me. Paige created a group chat called Whitmore Wedding Squad. I found out about it when she accidentally added me to a thread meant for someone else. Photo of bridesmaid dresses with the caption, "Thoughts, ladies?" I wasn't one of the ladies. I texted her twice asking about logistics, whether she wanted help with a toast, what time the rehearsal was. The first time she said she'd circle back. The second time, nothing. Just silence. Then a text 2 days later. "Sorry. Things are insane right now. Talk soon." I called Carol to ask if there was anything I could do to help in person. "Everything's under control, sweetheart. You don't need to worry about a thing." I never received an invitation. Not a paper one, not a digital one. I told myself that was normal. You don't formally invite your own sister, do you? She's family. Family is assumed. Then, 10 days before the wedding, Paige posted a photo from the rehearsal dinner. A long table on the vineyard patio. String lights, everyone laughing. My mother glowing in a cream dress with her arm around Paige. The caption read, "Dinner with my favorite people in the whole world." I counted the faces. I wasn't in it. I hadn't been told there was a rehearsal dinner. I almost called. I talked myself out of it. Maybe it was just the wedding party. Maybe they assumed I'd arrive later. I set my alarm for the next morning and started the long drive down the coast. I'd requested 3 days off work. I only get 15 a year. And I was spending nearly all of them on this trip. Gas, the hotel near Healdsburg for 2 nights. The gift, an engraved watch. Connor had once mentioned wanting, total out of pocket, before I even reached. California, just over $100. Somewhere on I-5, I pulled over at a rest stop and practiced a toast on my phone's voice memo. Something short about how Paige used to make me referee her stuffed animal weddings as a kid, always casting me as the officiant, never the bride. I thought it was sweet. I thought people would laugh. I texted Carol when I crossed into California. On the road, should be there by tomorrow afternoon. So excited. No response for hours. Then, right before I checked into my hotel, "Okay, busy. See you tomorrow." 5 words. No, can't wait. No, drive safe. I stared at that text in the hotel parking lot and felt something cold settle in my stomach, but I pushed it down. 11 hours of driving. 5 words back. The front desk clerk at the inn smiled and asked if I was here for the big Whitmore wedding tomorrow. Everyone in town's talking about it. I said yes. She said, "Oh, how lovely. Are you with the bride's family?" I said, "Something like that." I steamed my dress that night and laid it out like I was preparing for a job interview, which, in a strange way, I was. I was auditioning for a place in my own family. I didn't sleep much. The next afternoon, I arrived at the vineyard. It was breathtaking. Rows of grapevines, a stone terrace draped in greenery, string lights crisscrossing overhead, a quartet tuning up near an arch covered in white roses. I parked at the edge of the gravel lot among luxury SUVs that practically announced Whitmore money, smoothed my dress, and walked toward the entrance carrying the gift bag. I saw my father first. Daniel stood near the entrance in an ill-fitting rented suit, talking to an older man I didn't recognize. When he looked up and saw me, his expression dropped. He didn't wave. He turned and walked inside without a word. 15 yards, 10, 5. My mother stepped out from between the doors before I could reach them. Carol wore a beautiful champagne dress, her hair perfectly set, and her face was set too, like stone. She stopped directly in my path. "Vivian," her voice was low. "Hi, Mom, I made it." "What are you doing here?" "I'm here for Paige's wedding. You need to leave, now." I blinked. The gift bag suddenly felt impossibly heavy. "What?" "I drove 11 hours. Lower your voice. People are watching." "Mom, I'm your daughter." She stepped closer, close enough I could smell her perfume, the same one she'd worn my whole life, and her voice dropped to something sharp and final. "This is a family-only event. You weren't invited." I stood there. A couple walked past, smiled politely at my mother. She smiled back, warm as sunshine, and the second they passed, her face reset to ice. "Not invited? I paid for this entire event, Mom. Every contract. This isn't about money. It's about what's appropriate." "Appropriate? Vivian, please, don't make a scene." Behind her, through the open doors, I could see white chairs, floral arches, everything I had financed sitting there, glowing in the afternoon light. My father stood just inside, hands in his pockets, looking at the floor. From inside, a woman's voice called out, warm and confident. "Carol? Everything okay out here?" My mother's spine straightened instantly, and that voice belonged to Eleanor Whitmore, Connor's mother. The woman I'd discover in the next 10 seconds, who'd been told my mother had only one daughter. Eleanor stepped through the doors in cream linen, silver hair pinned up. The kind of woman who chairs charity boards for fun. Her eyes landed on me, curious, open. Carol, who's this? My mother turned on a switch. Oh, it's nothing, Eleanor. Just someone who got the wrong event. Happens all the time with these big weddings. Eleanor's gaze lingered on me a beat too long. Funny. I thought you only had one daughter, Carol? The silence lasted maybe 2 seconds. It felt like 20. I do, Carol said, laughing lightly. This is a cousin. She's a little confused about the schedule. Eleanor nodded slowly, glanced at me once more, said something about the ceremony starting soon, and went back inside. I looked at my mother, no guilt, no flicker of regret, just fear. The fear of someone whose lie was about to collapse in front of 100 people. A cousin, I said quietly. Vivian, please. How long have you been telling people I don't exist? She didn't answer. She just glanced toward the parking lot, willing me gone. And that's when it landed. She hadn't forgotten to invite me. She had erased me. For who knows how long. Every part of me wanted to walk past her, into that ceremony, and announce exactly who I was and what I'd paid for. I didn't. I crouched down, set the gift bag gently on the stone step and said, "Keep it. It's for Paige." My mother's shoulders dropped with relief. "Thank you, Vivian. This is really—" "Don't," I said. "Don't explain. I heard you. I heard every word." I turned and walked back across the gravel, past the wine barrels repurposed as decor, past guests arriving in pairs back to my car. I sat down, closed the door, and cried, quietly, the kind where your shoulders shake but you make no sound. Because even alone in a parking lot, you've spent your whole life trained not to make a scene. I heard the quartet start through the open windows as I pulled away. In my rearview mirror, the vineyard shrank into the hills. I didn't slam a single door. I didn't raise my voice once. And for the first time, leaving felt like the strongest thing I'd ever done. I know some of you are thinking, why didn't I just say something right there? Trust me, I asked myself that the whole drive to the hotel. But ask yourself this, if your own mother looked you in the eye and told a stranger you don't exist, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. And if this story is hitting close to home, the like button helps more than you'd think. Back at the hotel, I opened my laptop. 4 vendor confirmation emails sat in my inbox from the past weeks addressed to me as contract holder. I'd skimmed them before. Now I read every word. The vineyard deposit paid $1,500, remaining balance $15,000, due within 5 business days post-event. The caterer, deposit $1,000, balance $13,200. The florist, deposit $900, balance $6,800. The photographer, deposit $600, balance $4,500. Total outstanding, $38,000. My name, my signature, my card. The reception was probably starting right now. Toasts, dancing. Eleanor Whitmore, raising a glass to our 2 families, all of it running on contracts, signed by a woman they just called a cousin. My phone rang that night. My Aunt June, my mother's older sister, a retired ER nurse who has never once softened a hard truth in her life. Vivian, where were you? I didn't see you. I told her everything in the door. The whisper, the word cousin, Eleanor's question, my mother's answer, long silence. Then, flat and controlled, she told them you don't exist. She said I was a cousin. Vivian, listen to me. Those contracts, whose name is on them? Mine, all of them. Another pause, sharper now. Then you listen to me, honey. Your mother told a room full of people you don't exist. You don't owe that room a single cent. Sunday morning, Paige posted a photo carousel. 14 images. The family portrait, Daniel. Carol, Paige, Connor, Eleanor, and Connor's father. 6 people. 1 family, short a daughter. Caption, surrounded by everyone who matters. I read it 3 times. Then I opened my email. The invoices had landed overnight. Cheerful and automated, all addressed to me. All with 5-day deadlines. $38,000 due by Friday. Something shifted. Not a snap. Quieter than that. Like a lock finally turning after years of being stuck. I wasn't angry yet. Anger would come later in waves at strange hours. Right now, I felt only clarity. I was the only person who'd paid for this wedding. The only person erased from the photos. The only person being billed for a party I'd been thrown out of. Something had to give, and it wasn't going to be me. That afternoon, a voicemail from Paige, not a call. A voicemail like checking off a task. Hey, so the wedding was literally perfect. Everyone's still talking about it. Sorry things were weird yesterday. Mom said it was easier. This way with Connor's family being so traditional and everything. Anyway, thanks so much for handling all the vendor stuff. You're honestly the best sister. Love you, talk soon. I listened to it twice. No apology for the door. No, I should have stopped them. Just thanks for paying, dressed up as affection. She'd known, and she'd let it happen. That night I made a decision. I called the vineyard. This is Vivian Cross, contract holder for the Whitmore Cross wedding. I'm formally withdrawing payment authorization for the remaining balance. I was not present at the event, and I'm requesting the outstanding invoice be redirected to the event hosts in Sonoma. A pause then, of course, Ms. Cross. I'll pass this along. Same script, same calm voice, with the caterer, the florist, the photographer. 4 calls, 15 minutes. No yelling, no explanation beyond the truth. I canceled the card, ordered a new one, and slept through the night for the first time in days. Monday I drove home. Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. Mom. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Vivian, hi sweetheart, how was the drive back? Sweet voice. The one she uses when she wants something. Fine. Good. Listen, I just got the strangest call from the vineyard. They said you pulled your payment authorization? The bill is $38,000. How do we don't, Mom, you do. Silence. Excuse me? I withdrew authorization because I'm not responsible for an event I was turned away from. Vivian, don't be dramatic. It was a misunderstanding. We can talk about, you told Eleanor Whitmore I was a cousin. You told her you only have one daughter. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me? You raised me. I'm grateful. You also stood in front of your daughter and told a stranger she doesn't exist. Both things are true. Your father's blood pressure, if something happens to him, that's on you. Dad's health is between him and his doctor, not me and my credit card. The line went dead. Over the next days, the family phone tree activated. Paige called crying, the theatrical kind. We just got married. We don't have $38,000. Please. Did you know Mom told the Whitmores I don't exist? She said it'd be simpler. I didn't think they'd actually turn you away. My father called too. Rare for him. Your mother's upset. Can you be flexible for the family? Were you there when she called me a cousin? Silence, then a click. Aunt June, true to form, called Eleanor Whitmore directly. Told her there were 2 daughters. Not one. That the one Carol called a cousin was the one who'd signed every check and flown. Well, driven 11 hours, only to be turned away at the door. Eleanor went cold. The Whitmores refused to cover the balance. Connor confronted Paige that night. You have a sister? And she paid for our wedding, and your mom kicked her out? Their first real fight as a married couple happened 4 days into the marriage. Sonoma's a small world. By the following week, everyone knew. Carol stopped attending her usual social circles. My father grew quieter, sat alone more. A month later, an email arrived from him, the longest message he'd ever written me. He said he'd stood there like a post and said nothing. That he was a coward, that he was sorry, that he should have walked me inside. It wasn't an apology from my mother. It wasn't a fix, but it was honest. And it was the first honest thing anyone in my family had said to me in years. 6 months have passed. I got promoted at work. I started therapy, not because of the wedding, but because of the 36 years before it. My mother hasn't called since. Aunt June says she calls it Vivian's tantrum. I don't hate her. She's scared and flawed and built an image of a perfect family because the real one never felt like enough to her. And somehow I became the piece that didn't fit the frame. That's not an excuse. It's just what happened. $38,000. That's what my freedom cost, and I don't regret a single penny I didn't pay. If you're the one who always pays, emotionally, financially, for a seat at a table that was never built for you, maybe it's time to build your own table and sit at the head of it.